Bybit says Malaysia watchlist lift came after direct regulator talks. Bybit has been removed from Malaysia's investor alert list, according to CEO Ben Zhou, who said the change followed months of direct engagement with the country's Securities Commission. Zhou shared the update on X early on April 30, 2026, framing it as the result of formal regulatory dialogue rather than a quiet administrative shift. The Securities Commission of Malaysia had added Bybit to its list of unauthorized operators in 2021, warning local users that the exchange was not licensed to offer digital asset services in the country. Inclusion on the list typically blocks Malaysian banks from processing payments and pushes app stores to restrict downloads, so the lift, if mirrored by the regulator's own public list, would meaningfully change Bybit's footprint in Southeast Asia. What Zhou actually said in his post: Zhou described a sequence of meetings with Malaysian officials over the past several months and said the exchange had committed to working within the country's emerging digital asset framework. He did not announce a license, and Bybit has not published a regulatory filing alongside the statement. The claim is that the watchlist entry is gone, not that the company has received a capital market services license or any other formal authorization. That distinction matters. Removal from an investor alert list is an administrative step that signals reduced regulatory hostility. A license to operate a digital asset exchange or a recognized market is a separate, far higher bar. Zhou's wording leaves room for the first without claiming the second. Why Malaysia matters for Bybit. Malaysia is a mid-sized Southeast Asian crypto market with active retail participation, but a tight regulatory perimeter. The Securities Commission has steadily expanded its watch list of unauthorized operators, adding global exchanges and onshore-style platforms that solicit Malaysian users without registration. For Bybit, sitting on that list since 2021 created friction at the payments layer and limited any official marketing presence inside Malaysia. Getting off the list does not automatically restore banking rails or app store visibility, but it removes the headline regulatory flag that compliance teams at local banks and fintech partners would have cited as a reason to refuse onboarding. For an exchange trying to rebuild distribution after a year of jurisdiction by jurisdiction tightening across Asia, that flag matters. A regional pattern of slow re-entry. Bybit's update fits a broader pattern across the region. Regulators in Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, and now Malaysia have all moved from informal warnings to structured engagement with offshore exchanges that want some form of local presence. The pace is slow and the outcomes vary, but the direction is consistent. Rather than a binary ban or full license, jurisdictions are negotiating on disclosure, custody segregation, marketing restrictions, and local representation. That model puts pressure on exchanges to staff legal and compliance teams in each capital. It also rewards platforms that are willing to publish their commitments rather than litigate. Zhou's choice to announce on X, naming the Securities Commission directly, reads as part of that posture. What is still unconfirmed: as of the publication of this article, the Securities Commission of Malaysia has not issued its own statement confirming Bybit's removal, and the watch list on the regulator's website is the only authoritative source. Until that page is updated, Zhou's post is the primary record of the change. Local outlets covering the news so far cite Zhou's tweet rather than a separate regulatory filing. There is also no public detail on what Bybit committed to in exchange for the lift. If the agreement involved geofencing of certain products, restrictions on local marketing, or a pathway toward a future license application, none of that has been disclosed. What changes for Malaysian users? For users in Malaysia, the practical impact in the short term is limited. Bybit is not legally registered to offer services in the country, and this announcement does not change that. What it does change is the regulatory tone. If the Securities Commission follows through and updates its list, the friction around payments and account access could ease, even without a formal authorization. Malaysian crypto users who already use offshore exchanges should still consider where their counterparty risk sits. Removal from a watch list is not a guarantee of segregated custody, dispute resolution, or local recourse. The same considerations that apply to any centralized venue, including self-custody options for funds not actively traded, still hold.